Subaru versus Lust, why she's the most evil Archbishop so far, and the most attractive. But any news? Cut content for episode 5, season 3. Let's get right into it.
CAPELLA might just be the most twisted
Most wittable?
Archbishop Subaru's faced
Twisted as in, like, doing tricks on it? I agree.
On top of her sadistic desire to be loved by everyone, her
Valid.
psychotic behavior won't even allow Subaru to reset. It's a new challenge, making it seem increasingly likely whatever happens in this loop might just end up being permanent. Subaru's encounter
I'm fairly certain he's currently drowning in the bottom of the city right now. Is he not? He fell into water, his leg is, off. He's gonna bleed to death, if not drown. For the plot, though, he does get saved by, like, Al. And then he's gonna be like, Al, kill me, please. And I'll be like, no, brother, I can't do that. We'll see.
with gluttony isn't to be overlooked either, but a large portion of this video will focus on her.
Let's go.
The Sin Archbishop of Lust, CAPELLA Amarata Lagunica. I'll properly explain the full extent of her abilities, along with the raw, uncut logic behind why she does what she does. It's a bit more than just wanting to be loved.
That purple dragon blood is cursed dragon blood that I guess she doesn't. I don't know. I don't know what the blood does. I don't think the blood is what transformed people into, like, flies. I think that's her authority that did that. I don't think her real form is known, but I think maybe she is a dragon. I think the royal family is related to the dragon, and that's why she's part dragon. That's why she has cursed blood. Cursed blood is what caused all the royals to die, but, when you're an archbishop, you can just say nuh-uh to things, so you don't die to curses. Also Pandora. And you gotta add Pandora to anything. So the cursed blood makes you just owie, and then her authority is what transforms people into flies. So, yeah, I think right now Krush and Subaru is also infected by the blood, so he really is not living. Yeah, so Al saves him from drowning, and he's like, Al, kill me, please. I was like, no, kill die, I can't do that. But dies anyway to the cursed blood. Yeah. Cursed blood, faceless bride, different things, both involve transforming. Maybe.
By everyone. So let's take a look at this crazy episode of ReZero and see exactly
Okay, last video I said that I had crazy information. Let's, like, back up
by
5
everyone.
seconds.
So let's take a look at this crazy
This dragon is fucking Garfield's dad-in-law. Yeah. So, where are my hands at? Here we go. Boom. I don't know how that would. Oh, I think it's kind of, like, up for grabs, but it's the same voice actor. The voice actor for his dad-in-law is the dragon. And it makes sense, they're in City Hall. Yeah. Rip, bro. I actually forgot his name, although I don't think the anime ever says it. But, rip. Go next.
episode of ReZero and see exactly what it is the anime left out from it. Episode 55.
He's looking at I know it's not intentional. Like, he sees Subaru on the dragon's leg, but Garfield's like, oh, Dad?
Muddy Stream, covering Chapter 5 from Volume 17 of the light novel and Chapter 1 from Volume 18. To start with Gluttony's unexpected arrival, as soon as Subaru knew it was him, he wasted no time unleashing the fastest.
Don't act like you knew it was gluttony. That's not even the right gluttony. You're barking up the wrong tree.
And strongest whip attack he'd ever produced. In fact, this was without a doubt the greatest blow Subaru had ever mustered in his entire life.
Damn.
The impact would have gouged out skin and flesh alike, but somehow Roy managed to catch it effortlessly. Krush had engaged just like we saw next, but in addition to those invisible slashes of wind, she also followed it up with a close-range sword thrust. It was a charge that seemed sure to impale the target in front of her, but once again, Roy had avoided it like it was nothing. With an inhuman
Roy.
display of acrobatics, Roy twisted his
Forgot
body
his
in a
name.
way that shouldn't have been possible, then deflected Krush's blade with only his
This image, you can see he's got a 6-pack too. I guess that family, or whatever these had to be beast people, I would assume. They're just built different. I guess Garfield has a six-pack as well, so beast people just have cheats built into them. I wonder what their relationship is to the other gluttonies, because they don't have the same last name, so I don't think they're related. They could be like, I don't know, cousins or something, or like half siblings. Half siblings would fit. It would make sense as well. And then okay, we'll go with half siblings. How are like some 15, 13-year-olds coming in contact with the gluttony authority? Maybe they were like starving in a desert where Daphne died, and they found the authority. Like, yummy, nom 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 nom. Eat up, guys. Here you go. Here's your bite of authority. Nom 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 nom. Wait, who knows?
Fingertips. It was a counter only made possible by his concealed weapons known as the Tiger Claws, the purple extensions we see him wearing on each of his fingers here. He would then go for a counterattack on Krush, which actually would have hit had Subaru not moved her out of the way with his whip. With him literally carrying her again now, Subaru would run away, serving as the decoy for Gluttony to give chase after. This in turn created an opening for Julius, allowing him to land a direct hit on Gluttony. Unfortunately, drawing a little blood wouldn't be enough to stop him, as by the time Julius had prepared his next attack, Roy was already on his feet, moving again.
Looks like lie.
So even with Julius pressing the attack with a relentless fury of sword strikes, Roy's feral movements were just too hard to keep up with. As we saw in the anime though, it didn't matter if Julius could land a hit or not. So long as Roy was occupied, Krush and Subaru could go achieve their primary goal. That was easier said than done though, since for both Subaru and Krush, ignoring Gluttony was incredibly difficult. I mean, he was the singular goal Subaru had been pursuing for the past year. Time and time again he'd dreamt of getting the chance to confront Gluttony like this, but now that that chance was finally here, he wasn't even able to stick around for it.
Don't even know that it'll savor him. Come on now.
Such an opportunity
Focus up.
through his fingers like this. What had helped him to get over it was the extremely powerful look of conviction Krush gave him while he was contemplating it. It had reminded Subaru that he wasn't the only one affected by Gluttony. As someone who personally had her memory stolen by him, she too knew the key to getting her old self back was standing right in front of them. Even so, the choice—
like, it's been a year. Krush has got her own personality. Does she like? She doesn't really know what she's missing out on. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if I have my memories wiped and then I began being my own person again, I would be kind of afraid of losing my new self, you know? Like, what if you were a bad person and you just didn't know anything, and, you know, you're a royal candidate, so everyone's going to treat you with respect, and you could have been a terrible person and not even know it.
The choice she needed to make was clear. Fulfilling her duty would always come before helping herself. Even if it meant continuing to live in a world that was blank when it shouldn't be, that was a price she was willing to pay if it meant helping the people. So, as much as their hesitation, reluctance, and regrets encouraged them otherwise, Subaru and Krush knew they both lacked the time and strength to defeat Roy right now. They knew the only right choice was to pursue their true target. So, it was upon crashing into CAPELLA's base of operations that the first thing Subaru would notice would be the media. It was the most peculiar one he'd seen to date. As a device that—
Has he seen other media? I don't think so. The phones that the witch cult use, that's about it.
That expanded and enhanced the user's voice. The fact it was shaped like some kind of pipe organ really intrigued Subaru more than it should have. It was a machine solely powered by the magic crystals embedded right into it. The dragon quickly grabbed Subaru's attention after, and Krush's assault on it was way more brutal than what we saw. She didn't hold back, even for a second.
Dragon. I feel like it wasn't even gonna attack. It was just there. Hey guys, I'm the city hall keeper. Yeah, I'm a dragon now. Ow, my eyeball.
She even got up close and kicked it right in the chest, sending the dragon stumbling backwards from the sheer immense force of it. Now, knowing how this dragon was probably just a human transmutated by CAPELLA, it makes me feel bad for whoever it was before. They probably just wanted help and Krush just started wailing on them. Subaru would then discover what the sounds he previously heard on the broadcast was, rendering him speechless in a way that was well highlighted in the anime. What they didn't show after, though, was CAPELLA stomping hard on Krush after being rendered unconscious. She was convulsing from the mix of blows and whatever CAPELLA had done to leave her like this, likely poisoned as Subaru could notice a fang-like tooth poking out of CAPELLA's mouth. The moments after were very much faithful to the novel, all the way up to CAPELLA's transmutative counterattack. It was the first time she'd displayed the full extent of her powers as lust. To explain it in the words she herself considers best, though, it all stems from the very reason she exists. An existence where all she wants is to monopolize all the world's love and admiration for herself. This in turn makes her the ultimate manifestation of any aesthetic that can possibly exist, and
it's working.
through that she alone can answer anyone's most perverse desires. She'll take the form of the most beautiful person according to whoever's taste.
I commented on a thread where people were like so confused as to how CAPELLA could possibly know what Subaru's type is, and everyone was like, well, she's like a psychoanalyst, she knows, she can very quickly identify Subaru. Bro, Carmilla used Faceless Bride in season 2 and literally just said, I don't know what I look like, however I look like to you is what you want. And it's the same thing. Why would it not be? Why are we giving CAPELLA so much credit for just using her authority? Come on now.
Since, as the one who deserves to be loved the most, she also takes great effort to ensure that she is loved. That's just how devoted she was to receiving.
I got a whole bunch of love for you, don't you worry.
Words terrified Subaru down to his core, since as he came to understand it himself, her powers were by far the worst thing possible. They enabled her to violate any and everyone's system of values. So, as something that was being used by someone so morally
I thought we were gonna get the egg frame.
a horrible conclusion finally dawned on Subaru. Her ability to transmute and transform wasn't just limited to herself. It was a disturbing revelation that finally made everything make sense for him. The unnatural buzzing he heard during the broadcast wasn't just the random sounds of insects, it was the transformed humans flapping their wings desperately crying for help. With wings that couldn't even let them fly, it was the only thing they could do given their new inhuman form.
She made them turn into flies that can't even fly. She made them into walks. That's crazy.
So this solidified CAPELLA's position as a villain amongst villains, since just like the other archbishops, her twisted nature was simply evil. They all were. Wrath toyed with emotions and focused solely on her own self-centered love. Greed forced his values onto others while placing himself above them. Gluttony stole people's names and memories, trampling on their existence.
Everyone's got a problem with emotions. Greed stole names.
Then CAPELLA simply spat upon the values any normal human knew to respect. She blotted them out.
Wonder what Pride is gonna do. Who's left? Sloth's dead. Wait, what's left? Envy? There's 4 alive right now. Pride is unknown. Sloth is dead. And then Envy is Subaru. Fine, Pride, we're chilling.
In a way that was straight up unforgivable. Now, it was as CAPELLA explained why she did what
I always think it's the egg frame.
all the while she'd continue transforming into someone different.
Oh, come on. I want to see the egg frame.
She did that all the while she'd continue transforming into someone different.
POV. She says it's too big.
It had made Subaru unsure as to who he was even talking to anymore. When it came down to it, though, the basis of her logic was that people can't live without loving someone. Since they can't love something that's strange or revolting either, though, by process of elimination, it also meant they can't live without loving something they can love. This was the maxim by which CAPELLA lived her.
Bro, my brain just got fucked. People can't live without loving someone. People can't love disgusting things. People can't live without loving something they can love. Wow. I don't know if I believe that though. I mean, like, would you still love me if I was a worm? Sure. Fly? It's where we draw the line.
her life by. A comprehension of love she referred to as if it was the greatest discovery ever made. The whole thing was spoken with reasonably sounding logic, but just like all the other archbishops before her, that logic was built upon pure insanity. They were psychotic words that made Subaru just want to run away. Capella wasn't done there though, as she still had more to say with regards to why she was doing everything. To put it as simply as possible, it was all because she loved them. Out of a deranged compassion for
She
everyone
loves
around
me?
her, she in turn wanted to do everything to make everyone love her. It was all part of her desire to drown in the love of many. That was who she was. So, as
We are for sure gonna get a reset where Subaru just drops to his knees and goes, Capella, Emerada, Lagunica-chan sama, I daisuki. And she's gonna blush and then, boom, get blitzed.
a
Calling it.
person that wanted to monopolize all the love in the world for herself, that meant she needed to put in every effort to be loved. It was a process that included turning herself into
think
whatever
we get the
image
egg.
best suited
Oh,
the
maybe we do
person
still
she
see
was
it.
appealing to. Her goal was to make everyone look at her, robbing them of their interest in anything else. This, of course, included Subaru too, so even if he was just one person, Lust wanted to make him love her too. It's actually the reason why she refused to kill him here. Since all she was about was making people love her, despite Subaru being nothing but a useless sack of meat, he did still have
Me
value
too.
so long as his love was focused on her. That's just how strong her desire for recognition was. So, as far
Does, like, killing people and transfiguring them not make Seer hate her, though? Maybe it's not love, but lust that she wants?
as we know with regards to her motives right now, all Capella wants is for one more person to tell her how much they love her. That was supposedly all she was asking for. Keeping that in mind then, Capella's next form was a display intended to show just how hard she was working to be loved by Subaru. She then went on a rant comparative to Echidna's back in Season 2, listing off every possible reason one might claim to love someone. It was truly extensive and seemingly unending, each reason changing her expression for the worst the more she continued. In the end, it was all to express how all of it was, well, bullshit, and how to her, the only thing that mattered was visual stimulation. If it didn't, then she was more than willing to put the whole "would you love me if I was a fly" argument to the test for real. It was actually a test Subaru had unknowingly already failed, since his disgust for the flies in the other room was stated loud and clear. So this was the logic Capella abided by, and the values she decided to pursue as the Archbishop of Lust. Now, fast forward to when Subaru was slowly dying, and the tainted blood Capella decided to mix with his started overriding him into something that wasn't him. The feeling he felt was no longer pain or agony, but instead fear that originated from a different dimension entirely. In this moment, what was happening to Subaru was terrifying. Not because death was right around the corner for him, but instead because death was being withheld from him. For the first time, his opponent refused to let him die. That's pretty much where the whole Capella incident comes to an end, so if
I mean, when he was imprisoned by Sloth, he was just chained up and couldn't go anywhere. And it wasn't until a lifeless Rem freed him that he could escape. If Rem actually died to Metal Geese, who knows when he would have. He would have probably starved to death, honestly. Or, like, concussed himself to death beating against the wall. So, I mean, yeah, we'll see.
If we were to focus on one of the many other incidents happening across the city, Amelia's capture is probably the best. The others are a bit more disjointed with where they're at, so for them it makes more sense to wait before talking about their stories. So, to focus on Amelia, her initial thoughts here were that she'd been saved by Subaru. She was
Aww.
kind of hoping that that wasn't the case though, since after talking all tough and convincing Subaru to let her fight, it would be way too mortifying to know he had to save her anyway. Now, being naked didn't stop her from actually getting up and investigating where she was, since despite Anna Rose's best efforts to make her more reserved, this to her was an emergency. She decided that even if she was completely naked, she needed to figure out what the current status was. This led her into the halls with only a blanket on, resulting in her first formal meeting with Regulus. a person she barely recognized as the man she
So Regulus is defying her rights of being a maiden by feasting his eyes upon the goodness? What is going on, Regulus? Hello?
bumped into on the street. She doesn't know he's one of the archbishops attacking the city, nor does she remember him as this person from her past. Regulus would then approach
So we're
Amelia
stupid.
similarly to the way Subaru would himself, but the key difference in the way both of them acted was the lack of warmth Regulus carried when he was speaking to her. There was no compassion or consideration behind any of the words he spoke. None of the flattery she would usually receive when Subaru spoke. So, it was from this alone that Amelia now had a strange impression of Regulus, leading her to feel like something was deeply wrong. She couldn't quite pinpoint what it was, but something about this man seemed eerily familiar. From a distant corner of her mind, there was this vague feeling that she'd met him somewhere. In any case, there was an uncomfortable
I know he's described as being so bland that it would be easy to remember. And I'm not saying that she should remember the season 2 trial. But how do you not remember the guy you met on the street? You didn't meet that many people, I think. And then she was unconscious when she got saved, so that's valid. But I feel like she should remember the street encounter. But whatever.
intensity with the way Regulus proceeded to ask the question. He first grabbed Amelia by the shoulder, brought himself practically face to face, then asked the question he'd asked all his other wives before her. The reason for such wasn't out of vulgar curiosity though, but was rather simply to confirm the sanctity of the powerful bond they were about to commit to. If they were going to embark on a journey of mutual love and understanding, then both parties needed to fully entrust themselves to each other. It was the only way Regulus believed that they could maintain their relationship. So, with Regulus now closer than he was before, once again everything about him started stirring the depths of Amelia's memories. His figure, his voice, and his mannerisms all jogged a part of her memory she didn't even know she had. It was a presence almost identical to the menacing feeling she got when facing off against the horde of rabbits. Luckily, Amelia's response was more than acceptable, even going so far as to open up Regulus's third eye for him. What I mean is that Amelia just made it a whole lot more difficult to become one of Regulus's wives now. Before, he'd always used this question as a metric to measure his wife's purity, but now that Amelia had given him an answer he didn't even know was possible, this was the new standard of purity all his future wives would have to live up to. It wasn't enough to just be pure physically anymore. No. For Regulus, their very heart needed to be pure as well now.
Oh
To even know of the concept that he was asking of, well, that would mean that they were just too impure for him. So this was the new standard Regulus had come to accept here. Anything else would just diminish the value of the position he was offering. But yeah, that's everything we missed from episode 5. There wasn't really much in terms of whole entire scenes cut, but I hope these extra details did give you a bit more appreciation for the villains.
Oh yeah, I'm
Capella's
so appreciative.
character is
Would
certainly an interesting one, and I can't wait to
character,
see
yeah, that's what we're
she really
focusing on.
was.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, if you
So,
missed last episode, then you can watch that.
okay, only one video is recommended. So, I wonder. Okay. Regulus's authority is definitely connected to his wives. It would be hilarious if he just forsake all of them for Amelia. Because, Amelia's a new standard. Forsakes all of them and then loses Amelia. So now he's powerless and just gets packed up. 1, 2, let's go, Probably not going to happen. But hilarious that Amelia's the new standard. And holy fuck, Regulus, you are not going to find anybody else as innocent as Amelia. Because you need to find somebody who's been frozen in ice for 100 plus years. And then raised by a doting spirit father figure. That is just not going to happen. But anyways, would Capella, I think Capella has done nothing wrong. She, valid Capella. She just wants to be loved. So I think we should all just go and love Capella. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I'll be here same time next week. If you guys did enjoy, watch the next one. See you guys then. Peace out. Have a great one.